Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. We're so graced by your presence, and we want to appreciate your listening heart to the call of those who are in need of our loving support. As disciples of the Lord, we're called to be His hands, feet, heart, and so I'm very, very heartened by your presence this evening. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Raymond, and I am the youth minister at St. Therese-San. At your service. Thank you, guys. To my left, Miss Susan Orelli, she is our bookkeeper, business manager of the parish, and she and I both experienced this trip. It's because of our experience and how we were transformed by it that we thought it would be good to share this with you. And then here is Brett. Brett is the guy I kept on emailing all of you. Brett in the flesh is right here. He's from International Relief Teams, and he's our liaison partner. So he's here with us. He's going to present to you the ins and outs of this mission trip. So without further ado, let's welcome Brett to our parish and to our...
Hello everyone. Like Raymond said, my name is Brett. I'm a program coordinator for International Relief Teams. We're a pretty small agency, only about 8 or 9 of us, but I handle all the programs that have to do with volunteers. So not only do I get to do the logistics and the paperwork, but I also get to go with you guys down to Tijuana to the build sites, and I really enjoy it because it's the 1 or 2 times I get out of the office, and it's really a great experience. I'm just going to go over a few slides tonight, kind of give you guys a little heads up on what the build's about, and I also wanted to go over a little bit about who IRT is and what we do. So we're an international relief company. We do a lot of international disaster relief and volunteer services. We were recently and still are doing some work down in Puerto Rico, Florida, Texas, Louisiana for the hurricanes that came through there. And then we're also responding to the volcano in Guatemala, as well as some of the refugees issues down in the Myanmar-Burma region since monsoon season is coming. But we've been around since 1988. We are celebrating 30 years. We've been based in San Diego that entire time. Our director isn't from San Diego, but went to law school out here back in the 80s and never left. So yeah, we keep pretty busy. These are the 6 core areas that IRT has within our missions. We have nutrition education, medicine supplies, medical training, health services, disaster response, and the last one is really the most important one, kind of what you guys care about, and that's our community and family health, which is our New Homes, New Beginnings program. This program is specifically aimed at residents in Tijuana and kind of the outskirts of Tijuana. In here we call them suburbs, over there we call them colonias. They're very basic. As you can read, a lot of them are very, very poor, dirt roads, no running water. Just within the last couple of months, they actually just got power to about 95% of the homes or huts that are there. It's one of those things where it might not be much of a home, but at least now they have power. So life's a little bit better for them. The quality of life's improving, and that's also what this program's about too. This right here is specifically the community that we've been working in for about the last 2 years. It's called Fuentes de Valle, and the Fuentes family founded this little colonia. It's off the train tracks. Most of you, if you've ever been in Tijuana, you probably would never even go near or hear this place because it's about 15 miles east of downtown Tijuana proper, the beaches. There's not a whole lot out there. It's kind of like if you decide to go out to Alpine or Habul area, it's just a lot of dirt and rocks, but they've really transformed the area into a small community. As I mentioned, it's only accessible by dirt road. There's no running water or sewage system. They are governed by the city of Tijuana, but they don't have any kind of medical or social facilities. Majority of the homes, at least 70% of them or more, have dirt floors. A lot of them have garage doors or some metal siding as the sides of the houses. If they do have a door, it's generally just kind of a cloth or a drink that's nailed up and moves aside. And in this community particularly, a lot of them have come from more central mainland Mexico, moved up here for the better work in the factories and things like that. And this right here is the kind of dimensions on the house, and I'm going to go over some of it. Like, for example, it's got a front door, 3 windows, and a concrete floor. For us, that's great. Why do we care? Well, because now they have a floor that doesn't get wet with mud when it rains. The door locks, so they don't have to worry about their safety stuff. The windows have screens. There's a lot of sand and dirt and debris in the air down there from all the fires that they burn with the trash. So this at least filters a little bit of it out, keeps the bugs out, really improves the quality of life. And then the other thing that's really important too is they have a vault toilet. So what they do beforehand now is pretty much dig a hole, put a latrine over it. When that fills up, they bury it in the next one. This one is designed to last about 10 years. And in that 10-year period, an actual septic truck can come in, pump it out, and then it can be reused again. So it's not something that, you know, is sustainable and usable. So that's real great. This is kind of your basic information on the team size. The church has, it will be sponsoring 2 homes. So the sites will be really close to each other. Sometimes they're next door to each other. Sometimes they're across the street. It just kind of depends on where the families are. So we usually break the guys out into groups of about 24 each. As I mentioned, 2 homes. Pastor Raymond wanted me to let you guys know that while the church is sponsoring it, so there's no charge to any of the volunteers. If you do wish to make a donation, you can make that to the church, and then just put a little note on there for the Tijuana home build. Just that way, when the money comes into the church, they'll know where it goes. But again, there's no cost to you guys. It's just, it's in your heart. Please feel free to donate. Transportation. So what we do is we hire a commercial bus. These are the ones that a lot of the kids do for high school with the soccer, football, whatever, volleyball team goes. It's about a 55-passenger bus. It's got air conditioning, which is nice. The bus will meet everybody here in the parking lot. We'll get on the bus, head down to the border. Once we're down there, since we are a commercial vehicle, everybody, all their belongings, everything gets off the bus. We go through customs, and then we head down there for the day. We'll meet here, like I said, at the parking lot at 5:30 a.m. The church is kind enough to provide breakfast. And then we will be departing at 6, just due to time constraints and making sure we get the house built and we want to get back. We do leave at 6, so if you run late, this is the time to be early. And then, as I mentioned a little bit about the border crossing, since it's a commercial vehicle, it stops going into Mexico. It stops going out of Mexico. If you're familiar with driving down there or walking over the border by yourself, it's really simple. With the group, it tends to be a little bit more chaotic. No issues, but it's just a lot more people to walk through, and then everything goes to the X-ray machine. We've never had any issues. It's just the time it takes 50 people to get on and off the bus is really what it is. On the way back, we do go through U.S. Customs, and I will be explaining why. I know some of you have asked about the passport card and why you need that versus passport. We do go through U.S. Customs in Otay Mesa, and then we'll be back here. The goal is to get back here about 6 to 7 o'clock. If there's no way at the border, we should get back about 6:30. If there is, just a little after that. I would suggest not having anything planned after that. It's a great day. It's a lot of fun, but you've been out in the sun, you've been working. So I know myself, my fiance usually is kind enough to pick me up something to eat. So when I come home, or I know some of the families will just, order a pizza or pick up something on the way home. Something simple, just because everybody's pretty tired. So when we cross the U.S. from Mexico to the U.S. border back across, we use what's called the ready lane. And the ready lane is just an RFID-enabled lane that processes people going through the border a lot quicker than the normal lanes. We used to use the normal lanes, and then we had a couple trips where we were waiting in line for 3.5 hours. The ready lanes were moving about an hour, so we decided that, I know it's a little bit more of a hassle, but no one wants to wait in line that long. It's kind of like Disneyland, but no rides again. So there's a few documents besides the passport card that they do accept. The most common ones are the Sentry card or Global Entry card. If you have that, then you can use that in combination with your regular passport. Is anyone not traveling on a U.S. passport? Okay, that makes it easy. And like I said, the passport alone is just not valid in this lane. So this is what the passport card looks like. And the reason we chose this one is that if you already have your passport, you can just send in the paperwork. It's $30, and it requires no background checks or fingerprinting like the Sentry or Global Entry cards do. The packets that everyone has, there's a little FAQ in there, and I put the link so you can either fill out the application online or you can print it out on PDF and then handwrite it. I mailed mine in. It took about 4 weeks to get back. I tell people it takes 6 to 7 just because it has, so I always encourage everyone to turn it in as soon as possible. And then I know another big thing is safety. So unfortunately, there is a lot of crime and some chaos down in Mexico. We have not seen or had to deal with any of that due to where we're going. We're not going to areas where the drugs and the gangs are. We're not in tourist areas. This really is kind of like going out to Hamul compared to here. You're more the countryside. Traffic's probably about your most dangerous thing down there. You don't even have to worry about that since we'll be in the bus. The one thing I do suggest and really emphasize on is we don't have anywhere that we can lock up our goods, backpack, stuff like that. So don't bring anything of value that you're not willing to lose. So I generally suggest like wedding bands, if there was a jewelry or something that someone very special gave you, just leave that at home for the day. We have never had any issues with anything getting stolen. We always put our bags in a group where we can watch it, but we have had a few people that have forgotten wallets or cell phones, and unfortunately, the buses generally go back into service. So if that wallet or phone doesn't get picked up by the driver right away, it's just gone. Like I said, that's only happened once, but once is once too many. So just please be aware of that. And then the other question I get a lot is, can children participate in the bill? Yes, we love having kids on there. More than welcome, the more the merrier. We do have a minimum age of 12 years and older, though. We just find that about 12 is that age where they're okay just kind of hanging out. Unfortunately, even though the younger kids have been very well behaved, a lot of them just kind of tend to get bored being down there 7 or 8 hours. So 12 is just a little easier. We do have a parental consent form, and this is only if both parents aren't going on the trip. So if one parent's going, then use the form. If both are going, not a problem. I've even had a few of my friends, when they wanted me to take their kids, they named me as the parental guardian. And this is for 2 reasons. One, just so we can render medical aid if need be. And the other reason, too, is unfortunately, people have been taking their kids into Mexico when they don't have custody. So this just shows Border Patrol that, yes, your spouse, your wife, whatever, knows that the child's with you and you don't get detained for 40, 50 minutes and you just kind of ruin your trip. And then the great thing about this too is we have it really set up so you don't need a lot of construction skills. If you have your own tools like hammer, nail aprons, please bring those. You know, I've got a list here. These are also in the packets. But if you don't have that, that's not a problem. We have plenty of hammers, plenty of aprons for everybody to use. We don't provide work gloves, and by that I mean the thick ones. We do provide plastic gloves if you're going to paint, but work gloves are always great. And then this is just kind of some stuff on what to expect. Like I mentioned, you don't need to have construction skills to participate. There will be roughly 8 to 10 other volunteers that will get down ahead of time. And these are what I like to call my lead volunteers. They'll be wearing yellow t-shirts, and they're kind of your section leaders. So when we break it up into framing, painting, they'll lead you, they'll teach you, they'll guide you. If you ever have a question and they're not around, just look for someone in the yellow shirt, and they'll either show you how to do it or they'll find someone that can. So these guys are really great people. And the ladies that come down too, they've done, most of them have done at least 7 or 8 of these, so they're very experienced, really good people. It is to a certain degree a little bit of a physical demanding day. You are on your feet a good 6-7 hours. It is sunny, even though it's November and it might not get over 70 degrees. It does get hot, like it really bakes. So you got to really kind of prepare water the night before, wear good shoes, and I like to wear a big hat, sunscreen. To just that. St. Therese will be providing lunch, and then IRT will be providing just some basic kind of granola bars, and we'll bring our own water. I do suggest you bring a water bottle just so you can refill it, make life a little easier. And then, I know I've been talking a lot, but this is really a great video that we shot with a drone with some other volunteers. And it's just a quick video, and it shows you what the community looks like, what you'll be doing, and then who you'll be helping. So I'm just going to play that real quick.
This is Fuentes del Valle, an informal settlement community just a few miles from the United States border. 150 families live here, mostly migrants from central Mexico, searching for better opportunities. The cost of living and low wages often leave these families with insufficient funds to build houses. This is Mari. She is 28 and a single mother. At night, she sleeps in a twin bed with her 3 children in a tiny 2-room structure they call home. Fue muy difícil caminar y descargarnos vivir en un techo muy malo. Mari ekes out her living by selling makeup and doing odd jobs for her neighbors. Despite living in such poverty, she is able to stay upbeat. Difícil, ha sido difícil, pero en familia es
First came here, it was a very desolate place. There were only 100 families living here. There's no running water, there's no sewer, there's no electricity, no stores to speak of, and to buy groceries in. Just a pleasant area with the houses built out of garage walls and main outposts. It's amazing. Last year we've been able to help transform this place into start looking good.
IRT volunteers build a home for a family in this community in just one day. Today, Mari gets to watch her new house being built.
Bring down 20 to 50 volunteers, and in that one day, we completely build the walls, put up the wood, build the interior, and in many cases, families living in that house. And it's just amazing to see the joy in the family space, the joy in our volunteer space.
Seguirá buildings y tenemos la como detalle. Y pues, tenemos una vida muy buena para ellos.
So it's just a great little video to kind of show you guys a little bit more. And then last thing I was going to go over with questions is just the volunteer packets. I know a lot of you have grabbed volunteer packets here. I left my business card over there, and on the bottom of it, I tried to put my name everywhere just so you would have trouble finding it. And that's just so if you need more, want to type it in digitally, I can send that to you. A copy of your passport card or passport global entry card with paperwork is due to Raymond no later than September 24th. And then our hard deadline to get everybody in, where we absolutely need to, is October 1st. And the last thing, we just kind of do this more on a first come, first served basis. So once your paperwork's in, that's your spot. You're on the team. So yeah, if you're going to open up to any questions and go from there.
All the paperwork you can just package it.
Yeah.
Not a copy.
So the copy of the passport card or passport and local entry century cards, that is part of what we need from you. So the first page of that, it's got a little cover letter, and there's some line items with the application, the waiver, and then the copy of the passport card that we need from you. Once we get those three things, then you're on the team, you're going. Yeah, that answers your question. Okay. If something comes up between now and then, please feel free to email me or Pastor Raymond. They'll get the email to me. And yeah.
Any plumbing or electricity?
So no plumbing. The latrine will be done ahead of time, and so we don't have to deal with any of that. And that's, like I mentioned, kind of like a old school septic tank. At the very end of the day, part of another group will come in and they'll do some basic wiring for an electrical outlet and then a couple lights in the house. But primarily what we do is we do all the painting, framing, interior stuff, and then also we do the drive the boards on the top of the roof. The actual shingling and stuff like that is done by another group, just because only a few people can get on the roof to do that. So it's just better to have someone else do it rather than 40 people standing around and 5 people on the roof kind of thing. So
Use power.
for the roof, yes. So we do have power tools, circular saws, that sort of thing that'll be on site. If something happens and we're running really far behind, then we'll pull out some nail guns and start using those. But we try and keep everything with hand tools. That way, the more people just can get a little bit more of an experience. I mean, you could get 4 or 5 contractors and some nail guns and have this thing done without painting in probably 3 hours. I've actually seen a crew of 6 guys get it done in 4 hours. But again, it didn't have any paint. And the painting is really cool just because it helps keep the wood last longer, and then it just really brings a lot of life into the home. Paint the inside and outside. And that's another thing that's really fun is down there, their colors are very, very vibrant, very loud, if you will. So that's another question that gets asked a lot is the families are the ones that actually pick out the colors. We don't, they do. So sometimes you'll see these crazy school bus yellows and purples and pinks and all kinds of stuff, but it really makes the neighborhood kind of pop and come alive.
Does the art century when we're done on the way back? Like if I'm with my parents and we come back, do we meet up with everybody at the end and just leave?
So the goal is to have everybody on the bus, and the bus will pull up, everybody gets off, and yes, there is a specific lane for Century, so you might get through a little faster faster than the ready way. And then we meet on the other side. Everybody gets on the bus and comes back in. All right. Just want to say anything else, or?
So let's thank Brett. Thank you for doing what you do and for making it. As Brett mentioned, this is at no cost to you except for maybe some of your blood, time, and sweat. Yeah, because I never used the hammer as much as I did the last time I went. But it's something I will never forget, I'm sure, Miss Susan. Incredible. We are hoping to have a large enough team to build 2 houses at the same time, which means we need 48. Therefore, I would ask you to spread the word. If we get more than 48, then they'll be put on a waiting list because we cannot accommodate more than 2 teams because we only have enough yellow shirts, they're called yellow shirts, for 4 minutes and guides for only 2. Plus, they usually just do 1 house regularly. But because I am confident that we can provide enough people to do 2, I am sure we can provide them. I'm also confident in a provident God that will provide the $12,000 we need. To date, I don't know how much we have, like $2 or $3 or something. And I already used that for the waters. But I am also confident that God will provide. This is a parish effort. And
And
we need-
school.
and the school.
And the principal
the
is
school.
on board and he's going to market it at the school and hopefully get some parents and possibly students if they're old enough to come. So the joint effort.
So that's why I'm not charging you guys. As Brett said, this is something very taxing to the body. Because when I got home, I didn't wake up till about 1 p.m. the following day. You need to prepare yourself physically. So if you have any questions, I'll leave my business card as well. But Brett is kind of like the main guy in charge. We're in charge of providing human resource, and financial support. And so, if there are any other questions before we go, I don't want to belabor or prolong this. I think we did a good job in providing you that information. So I just like to conclude in prayer, if that's okay with you. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Gracious and loving God, thank you for calling us. Thank you for helping us to respond to a need. Strengthen us and give us all that we need to bless those who are in need of your love and shelter and warmth. Guide us as we go home. Bless all travelers. And we offer all of this through the intercession of Mary as we pray. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. May Almighty God bless us in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Go in peace to love and serve everybody. Thanks be to God. Thank you.